Good evening, friends. Welcome back to EGFC Week 2. We've had 3 great games so far, 2 more tonight before we finish it off. And now I'm being joined by the wonderful Sir Waltham coming in for play-by-play. How are you doing tonight?
So far, doing pretty well. Excited to see these two teams come up. We are going to be seeing UT Arlington versus William and Mary to start. And we were talking about it a little bit before our broadcast, but I'm excited to see UT Arlington come out once again. We did see them come out a little bit victorious last week.
Yeah, a lot of these matches have ended 3-0. We actually had our first non-3-0 match on the other stream. Wichita State gonna take the W against University of Delaware 3-1. UT was one of those teams that started off pretty hot, got that 3-0 last week coming into this 1-0 on the season. William and Mary did not do as well that first time. Even with 2 names, they could not take away from their first game a win. They did take a 0-3 loss, so they're looking to rebound. We've seen teams come back. I mean, DePaul played UTA last week. They were able to get the win earlier today in our first game of the week. So just because you've lost the first game does not mean you're out by any means. These teams have plenty of time to regroup, re-strategize, and, things could be a little bit different. We talked about this before with Proper, but there is that soldier change that is live, so that could really switch things up as well as how people play this right now.
Certainly, I'm curious to see how quickly we'll see the soldier integrated, if we'll see him put in at all. Overall, very curious to see. It is very early here, so not too many scorelines, as you said. 1 win for Arlington, 1 win for William and Mary. So we could see this going 1 loss for William and Mary. So not a whole lot of stats to go off of, which as a safe bettor, that's usually where I put my faith.
Yeah, absolutely. And I believe it was Wichita State that actually was the ones that put away William and Mary last week. And I think we're going to see a little bit of, a hierarchy being developed over the next few weeks of which teams are really at the top of their game and which teams may not be up there, but there's still a lot of movement that can happen. There's still a lot of Overwatch to be played. And you want to know a fun fact? You want to know why William and Mary have 2 names for their college? It's really cool. So it was actually founded in 1693 by King William and Queen Mary. And that's why. So it's the 2nd oldest college in the United States behind Harvard. So a lot of history there with that institution, but not as much in their esports program. They're really trying to start something new and build it up from the ground. Right now, they need to get back into the season with a win.
Well, let's see if they can manage to do that here. We are taking it straight to Nepal as these gates are about to open up. Symmetra's on both sides to get those teleporters. Just get people moving a little bit faster here, Jag.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm sure we're going to see those Sims swap immediately to a Reaper. There it is on both sides, but it was a little bit faster on the side of William and Mary. So they are going to get to the point, and they're going to cut the May wall down.
Now, Nucleum going to be throwing that May wall down. Doesn't quite get the section off that it needs to. Not going to be able to collapse on that, but it does buy William and Mary quite a bit of space. Ultra Polito going to be trying to push up with that Reaper. Just engage that threat with the shotguns. Nucleum does throw in the wall a little bit better this time, able to get a little bit of section off, make this team a little bit more comfortable. But William and Mary already suffering their losses. We see Ratchet Knight trying to just push back with that Reaper. So far not delivering as much as they need, but now the big swing coming in the form of a Coalescence from Alons. Now we're going to be seeing them try to heal up their team. The return Coalescence coming in from Darko doesn't seem to be finding as much value. It's a Reaper v Reaper situation, but Ratchet Knight manages to find it, and with that, William and Mary get the first flip here.
Yeah, the Coalescence being the difference maker there, keeping everyone alive, and unfortunately for Darko, just a bit too late on the side of UT Arlington. So right now, it looks like William and Mary have control of the point. They're going to take this high ground. I wonder if they're going to try to drop in with another wall. It's not as valuable out in the open like this. They've given up the point, so it's really easy right now for UT Arlington to just kind of rotate behind them. And now they're going to go on for the full-on engage, Rhine v. Rhine.
We're going to see the grab come out. Gavant going to be throwing it in, locking everybody down. The freezes start to come in from Nukalama, and just off the back of that grab, that's all they're going to need to take this and hold.
This looks like a whole new William and Mary so far from a very small sample. One of the biggest things they struggled with last week was that Unique would just be focused down so much they could not keep their main tank alive. Right now, Unique really just swinging for the fences and finding a lot of value. But Dez has that EMP online. That is the fight winner they're looking for, and TF2 does not have that beat online.
A lot of options here for UT Arlington. The grab is going to be what they decide to opt into, but a big return shatter coming in from Unique. Drops the 3, however, the sound barrier is going to be there from Super Juice. The investment comes alive for UT Arlington. The return shatter takes down Ratch Knight. This might give the side of Arlington the edge they need in this fight. Now numbers starting to equalize a little bit with Tomato Lord falling, and now the pressure on Unique is going to be all on that shield. We see Arlington trying to push onto it, try to weaken it as much as possible. Doesn't matter, the flip does go to Arlington. Eventually, Ultra Polito getting behind that Rhine shield, pushing ahead, and now Arlington takes the reins.
Yeah, and Dez did not use that EMP, so they still have it, but now TF2 does have the beat online. It's going to be a game of cat and mouse. Who's going to be able to hit it first? If the beat is going to be able to save them in time with Elise, who can hide well enough. There's so many factors going into this, and it's not going to matter for a few seconds, as we saw that there was a little bit of a stagger kill. But Rachel Knight also has that Reaper all online, but here's the Dez in the backline. They know where the Lucio is, and it's going to be huge if they get it.
And they get the 5-man EMP, the 4-man EMP, rather, with the additional hack onto Unique. Off the back end of that, William on the back foot. Unique getting torn apart on the exit. With this, Arlington continuing to push this advantage. Let's play a little game of touch the spawn here, Jack.
Yeah, and unfortunately, a 2 of 2 is not going to be able to make it back in time. The wall going to come up. That actually might be an opening, but their speed is just going to come in from Super Juice, so they're going to get out. Dez used the EMP. They didn't have to commit anything else, and although they've gotten a good amount of percentage on the point, look at all the ults right now from William & Mary. They have 5 to only Darko's Cole, but Dez again going to be looking for a hack in the backline. Not going to find it. Is going to find it actually on the Lucio.
TF2 is better, not going to be able to drop that sound barrier for a moment. Tomato Lord down early, and it looks like the sound barrier not even needed. Persona non grata comes in thick for the side of UT Arlington, getting evicted from the point.
Yeah, and although UT Arlington was so close to getting up to the same percentage, now they're going to be falling 11% more and counting right now for William and Mary. This could be last fight territory. Nuke Llama has that mail, and if they can hit it, even if they can just zone the point out, that is all that William and Mary will need to take this round.
We'll see if they manage to take this around, as now this next fight going underway. Overtime hitting down. The Blizzard going as a response to the grab, or perhaps the grab as a response to the Blizzard. And now we're seeing Ultra Polito try to drop the Death Blossom, gets both the S for the side of William and Mary. Now the teeth have been pulled from this team. The cleanup just has to be here from Arlington. Ultra Polito taking a little bit of a wailing, but manages to get healed up, kept alive, and helps their team clean up the point. Now Arlington gets the flip. This is very competitive.
Yeah, and TF2 committed the beat. They are literally too late. Now they have no counter to Dez's EMP. Right now, UT Arlington has put themselves in a great position to win this fight, and then the point for this round, all they need to do is hit a few people. Don't even hit everyone. If they can just hit the main tank, if they can hit Unique, that might be all they need. Right now, Dez just kind of running around looking for the perfect angle.
As we see that angle trying to get set up, Dez drops the EMP, takes out a laundry from that Coalescence. Ultra Polito getting tucked into the backlines, pushing up onto that weak Moira. Moira doesn't move away from that Reaper because of that they're going to pay with their life. UT Arlington going in strong off the back of that EMP. As we watch now, overtime is going to burn down, and that is going to be it. Arlington starts off a very competitive game.
Yeah, that was very back and forth, 100 to 99%. It doesn't get any closer. Literally, it does not get any closer than that. And it just came down to the EMP play from Dez. They committed the beat a bit too early. They had to know what their win condition was, but they tried to go for the win there. The Reaper all coming out in the back line just took 2 out, and then from there, William and Mary was not able to regroup with a late beat. But it's still very winnable for either side. I think what they need right now on the side of William and Mary is for TF2 to have a better understanding of, I need to save this beat and I need to hide. Seems like all the time they were out in the open, maybe not expecting the EMP, or maybe just, didn't realize it would happen that quickly. But now both teams going to use the Sim TP quickly, swip back to the Rhine, and we have a ball game once again.
Once again, Nuke Llama going to be on that May. The difference there being in that DS. Tomato Lord and Unique going to both be going head-to-head, but Unique has to drop shield as the hack comes through from the side of Dez. Now we're seeing Tomato Lord just try to swing strong, although they lose their shield as well. Super Juice does fall. A little less healing available for Arlington, but they're also starting to lose their DPS. They're going to slowly start to retreat out of this, otherwise their casualties will just continue to pile up. And Reinhardt brought dangerously low. Tomato Lord, no way to really get out. Eventually going to be collapsed on, and William and Mary take the first point and continue building up that progress.
Even though they lost their main tank, they were still able to take the point position, and you can use that natural cover as a shield. William and Mary playing that fight very smart. We're able to get 2 picks, and that's that for that fight. But UT Arlington, they know what they need to do. They need to hack out the Rhine. They've done a good job at getting Unique Shield down with that hack. And look at Dez already in the backline looking for it.
Dez going to be doing a little bit of hunting, a little bit of fishing if you prefer. Gets the hack onto Unique, but Unique quick to respond, turns the shield to block. Darko initiates with a Coalescence, as does a Laundry. The grab now coming out from Gavant doesn't yield a whole lot. In fact, it's actually going to be the side of Arlington who takes these kills coming in thick. Rash Knight going to be able to get one. Looking like they're trying to get the kills off the back of that Blizzard as well. But again, that Blizzard finds nothing. And now UT Arlington running roughshot with this point. Going to be looking to get the flip as soon as the kills come through.
Again, the somber play. They hacked out the Reaper, and just having Unique turn around was enough for the distraction. They got shattered, I believe. They tried to use the grab, Gavin's grab, to hold UT Arlington in one place, but it just wasn't enough. And there was a very interesting play from Rage Tonight in there. They had the Zarya frozen up in the Blizzard, but instead of going for that definitely determined kill, they went for the Reaper, who's getting healed by Darko. So Ultra going to get out alive, and now Dez again setting up for that EMP that has worked so well for UT Arlington so far.
TF2 close to a sound barrier, however, if not fast enough, Dez going to have the advantage here. As we look, UT Arlington just trying to find their opening, but Darko gets taken down. This might be the William and Mary. It's going to be the grab that comes out. Arlington also dropping the Death Blossom and the EMP. They're really committing to this fight. It wins them it, but that was a little bit costly.
Definitely costly. That's the perfect word. They used 1, 2, 3 ults there. Probably one that they didn't need to use at the end was the Reaper ult. But you can build it up pretty well, especially if you're on the flank, and Ultra has done a pretty good job of that so far. Right now, William and Mary, they have ults to burn as well. They almost have another Mei ult. That's how long it's been since they've had this point. But they need to land a shatter, and this Cole, the dueling Coles, might be the difference maker.
Oh no, it would be dueling Coles, but a Laundry gets blocked out of it again. And now we're seeing the sound barrier try to come in from Super Juice, but he gets taken down amid the barrier. This is going so back and forth for both these teams, losing their ultimates, keeping their ultimates back and forth, but it looks like Arlington so far managing to come through with the kills despite the Mei wall, kind of breaking them up just a little bit. The cleanup will be there on Nukalama. No, Arlington looking close to the last fight.
That's a fight you had to win for William and Mary, because look again, Dez has the EMP. There is no beat for you, and it does not matter that you have 3 ults built up, 3 ults that could possibly win you a fight, because that EMP will cancel all of them. They are going to go for a different rotation, trying to go up top. Dez might not be able to find them right away, but will it even matter? Will they even be able to touch? The Lucio going to give their life at the last second.
TF2 will be dropping, and the Blizzard does go out, but I don't think it actually landed. It got interrupted. EMP animation. Now it looks like Arlington quick on the cleanup, and this fight looking a little bit better for them than previous. Overtime once again ticking down. We hear that gong, means nobody's left on the field. They got this one wrapped up. Arlington looking a lot better here than their previous map.
Wrapped up and with a bow on top. UT Arlington looking very clean on that second play of DePaul. A lot better than on Village, as you said. The Sombra play, again, is just a difference maker, I think. They have no counter for the EMP. They've had the beat. They have not been able to be in a good position to get it off. You saw that the EMP canceled the Mei ult. They used the grab, and they weren't able to get any value out of it, even though it was out before. And then Unique never got that shatter off. EMP is just such a good ultimate, and they're trying the Mei. I don't think the Mei is a bad choice, but when you look at the ultimates that the Mei had, it just wasn't nearly as much value as the EMP. The walls were good, the freezing was good, but at the end of the day, those ultimates are what you're playing for, and if they're not getting the value you need, you probably need to swap.
And that kind of brings me to my question here, Jag. This doesn't seem like it's a very mechanical matchup so far, as in there's not, Widows landing sick headshots, McCree catching out Tracers at a moment's notice. Where in the difference can William and Mary start to pick up, what looks so far to be a deficit in their gameplay?
Play the counter Sombra, play the mirror Sombra, I guess in this case. They can counter each other if you can get a hack. I mean, a hack Sombra is just a sitting duck for the most part. They tried the May, it did not work. We saw why the Sombra was so good for UT Arlington. They usually would focus down the main tank and then Unique. Although I will say Unique is doing a lot better job of staying alive than last week against WSU. That might just because of how UT Arlington is playing it, or maybe just because the WSU was a bit more aggressive. But still, when you're a hacked Reinhardt, it's so hard to live because you're just an alt battery who's trying your best to not get murked right then and there. If you have your own Sombra, though, if you're playing the backline Sombra where you're actually waiting for the other Sombra to show up, it's perfect because you can just hack her while she's trying to hack your Ryan, and then the whole team can focus her down. It's very hard to play like that. It has to be very team-oriented, and just like you said, it's not necessarily about mechanical skill. It's about team play, getting those pick plays, getting those team-built plays where you're using ults and then focusing people. The EMP is a great way of doing that. You just use the EMP, you just speed in, or whatever you have if you don't have a Lucio, and you just try to finish all those kills up.
Well, with that being said, maybe we can see a little bit more of that come through for William and Mary as we take it on to Kings Row, and it will be William and Mary on the start to defend, meaning that, of course, Arlington is going to be on the attack, and now it looks like we are seeing a little bit of the switch off the May onto the Sombra here, Jack.
Yeah, and that might work out depending on how they play it. You really want to be playing this high ground, maybe on top of the hotel, just to try to get a pick as they rotate, maybe on top of the statue. We're seeing Unique playing really close up to that. Chug probably just going to be looking for a fire strike. Do we think that UT Arlington is going to stay on this double sniper comp? The Widow is really good in spawn if she can get a pick. The Hanzo is really good for finding people out. As you see, the sonar arrow going to be comboed. I don't know if they're going to keep running this the whole time, though.
Yeah, I highly suspect that both those snipers perhaps just going to be for a little bit of scouting. We already see Dez switching on to that Sombra. Ultra Polito probably going to be quick to follow. In fact, we'll be switching on to Reaper as I say that. And already, Arlington just looking to get that aggression going. Once again, they push right up onto point, start getting some progress built up for them. Tomato Lord swinging big, but perhaps a bit too big. Both Reinhardt's going to be falling now. Not a whole lot of shield to mitigate any damage. It's now going to come down to just who can hit harder. And as we see, the first tick's already been achieved for UT Arlington, and UT Arlington getting aggressive here, making sure that if they take this, they take it in pretty much one fight. Very little chance of a regroup if they were able to get some more kills off that.
Yeah, that looks like a one and done. You might see Nuke Llama touch at the last second, but no, they're just going to try to get out of their life. And Nuke Llama, did you see that? It looks like they got displaced at the beginning of that fight. They went really deep into the spawn location of the attacking team, kind of got called out. And I think that UT Arlington saw that, took advantage of it, and said, hey, we're going to take that 6v5. We know your Sombra isn't there.
Speaking of Sombras, we see the hacks coming through, but it's Nuke Llama who's doing it. Time around coalescences from both teams, trying so hard to get Unique up and down, depending on whatever team you're on. But so far, Arlington just punching through with the force of a Mack truck. This cart moving pretty swiftly through Streets phase. So far, we can even see Ultra Polito getting a little bit aggressive with that rig.
Nuke Llama is going to pick out Super Juice, so that cart is going to be contested for a little bit. Nuke Llama, though, not going to be able to get out on time. They do have dueling EMPs, so I think this is going to be a very interesting fight. A very big fight for this map. They really need to win it here on William and Mary. They need to make sure their EMP hits. You can have dueling EMPs that cancel each other out. I've seen it so many times. In the end, if you get your ult canceled, you're not going to feel good. But there is the first EMP now.
And everybody but Nuke Llama gets hit. Nuke Llama can return fire, but quickly. In fact, not quite there to capitalize. And now Arlington going to be pushing ahead off the few kills that they managed to get. I say few, they got 3. And now Dez going to be taking the duel with Nuke Llama. And Nuke Llama realizes they may have made a mistake as the rest of the team for Arlington pushes up.
I have made a great mistake. That's exactly what's playing in my mind right now. What might have been contestable at the very end, now they're just getting kind of pushed back, and it's not looking very good for the defenders. William and Mary, they have ultimates, but again, they just cannot use them. Time and time again, they've had an ult bank that looks pretty healthy, but the EMP comes in and shuts it down. They die with it in their pocket, but now here's Nuke Llama, and they hit a big one with the Shatter.
EMP does come out, as does the Earth Shatter, pushing up. As we see the kills coming through, it looks like most of Arlington's going to see that, just throw themselves into the pit and get a quicker regroup.
Yeah, a smart play, throwing themselves into the pit. No ult charge for the enemy team. Able to just give a little reset, and now they'll be back at it. That spawn's so close. Man, Nuke Llama almost getting taken out with that fire strike. Now they're going to be in the back, just doing a little bit of spray damage. This is really interesting. Now both teams kind of on the same foot. this might be the flank ult from the Reaper.
Ultra Polito going to be dropping that Death Blossom from behind, but it does get responded to by TF2, who does drop that sound barrier. Coalescence is coming out from a launch and trying to keep everybody up. Both supports being invested in this situation. Ratchet Knight going to be throwing in a Reaper Death Blossom of their own. Does find one. Super Juice not able to utilize the sound barrier there as much as they would like. But now William and Mary once again holding, and this is the kind of composure we need to see from them.
Yes, but again, we saw the B come out from TF2. Now Dez has a free EMP. And look at they're looking for the position, and there it is.
Takes down Nuke Llama. The EMP comes out. Darko even invests. They want to get it. Darko wants to get the play of the game, but as we see them push ahead, there might be time for one more contest check.
Where go Kamehameha? Is there enough time? They're going to bring out the ball, but Gavin's going to be hacked and fall off the map.
That is so unfortunate. The Earth Shatter comes in. Tomato Lord takes a little bit of a fall, but it's probably not going to be enough here. Polito just tucks right up and into point. As we see Unique swing for the fence as well. Not able to find anything, and with that, Arlington's going to deliver that cart. 3 minutes and 41 left on the clock.
The Sombra play right now coming out from UT Arlington is on point. Just seeing so much work, not only with the EMP, but these hacks have been so good. I cannot give enough praise to Dez and how they're playing this Sombra. It just seems like they know exactly how to play this composition with the Reaper Sombra, how to run it. Generally, you want to just pressure out the main tank, as we talked about a bit earlier. But they're doing so much more than that. Just the fear of the Sombra is kind of putting William and Mary in a place they don't want to be, where they're always checking their backline. They're always turning around to make sure that doesn't happen. Sometimes they've been able to cancel that hack animation. Sometimes they haven't. And you can't play scared in Overwatch. You have to play as aggressive, as confident as possible. We saw them have a little bit of a stand on that third point. We're able to get back into it for a little bit. We're able to play aggressively and rotate their ults in a good fashion. But then UT Arlington said, we see your all rotation and we'll one-up you with it. And they sure did. 341 in the time bank for them if they have to do a second attack.
Yeah, I mean, that's certainly pretty blistering. I mean, I don't know. They can, like, fight entire battles and cross half of London in quicker time than I can get a pizza here, Jag. This is the team I want to deliver my pizzas, is what I'm saying. But now, as we look ahead, Arlington gonna be on the defense. They have to burn off, again, as much time as possible. We're gonna see them go through. Unique taking the charge here, trying to get some fire strikes. Doesn't find a whole lot. We see the hack onto Super Juice. That's going to be the Lucio. Not able to rotate their team, not able to give their team that healing. But Unique also taking a hack. It means that they have to drop those shields. And now Polito going to be seeing this opportunity, trying to get in there, tucked in once again. But the Sombra gets hacked. Nuke Llama just not watching out for where Dez is. That's going to be an opening for the side of Arlington. And they're going to keep pushing it up here. We even see Ultra Polito getting super aggressive with the help of Creets, giving them that bubble. And will be able to just get away with that Wraith Form.
Dez right now is playing exactly how you should play the Sombra on this point. You need to be playing that high ground, looking for those hacks. Nuke Llama maybe isn't as comfortable on this character. It seems like they don't know how to do it, but what is going on right now? The coal is coming out, and the first one going to be from the side of William and Mary, and it looks like they might have a fight won.
So far, they're doing very well. 2 kills already going in favor. Darko nowhere near a coalescence in terms of at least relative to coalescences. As we see William and Mary continuing to clean up, building up that progress. They take the wraparound, but it ends up paying off for them.
Yeah, now Reaper gonna be alive for just a second, but gonna fall. That was a great rotation. I just did not expect it from William and Mary. They really put pedal to the metal. It looks like they got Darko kind of in a weird position. They had to use the Wraith Orb to get out. And that's that. The first point going to William and Mary in a very similar time. Both these teams doing very well on their first point attack, but Dez lurking in the shadows again with the EMP.
We'll see if Dez can find it, although I think I already know that. Nothing to really respond to from the other side as well. These teams just exchanging. Ratchet Knight gets caught out, probably going to call out Dez, but it's not really going to matter. Dez replies in with the EMP. The Earth Shatter combo, Tomato Lord getting 5 down. Now we're seeing the follow through come in from UT Arlington. The backup is there from William and Mary, but they do already lose some members. That's going to send them back to spawn, and Unique caught out just a little bit here means that that's going to be a late stagger.
Not the fattiest of shatties, but definitely a good shatter nonetheless, a good follow-up to the EMP. Now Nuke Llama has one of their own, but they're being found out. It looks like the spy check right now from UT Arlington is just really good. They don't have the Debo with the unlimited fire, but they're just spraying and praying. They find Nuke Llama, and so far, Nuke Llama not been able to set up. Probably have to wait a little bit before they get that EMP off. But there it is, actually.
It's actually going to be landing onto 4, but Super Juice there with the answer. Ultra Polito going to be dropping the Death Blossom with that sound barrier, giving them all that more healing. Trying to duel the Reapers now, but it's going to be Alondri giving their team the benefit here with Coalescence. Doesn't matter. Ratchet Knight still going to be chased down. Reinhardt's pinning into each other's spells. Bad news for Unique now as Arlington once again tapping the spawn a little bit.
Bad news bears for William and Mary. They had a good first point attack. Now they're getting stuck at the archway. It's so hard to push as an attack through it. It's so advantageous for the defense to just hold their ends. We're seeing that Super Juice, they were waiting. They knew that EMP was online. They waited, they hit, and it worked out for them. You need TF2 to do that as well. They have a beat of their own, might be saving it for Dez's EMP, which will be online shortly.
That TF2 should have known that Ultra Polito was going to be lying in wait for the backlines. TF2 drops that sound barrier to keep everybody alive, but the damage already too big coming in from Arlington. It just seems like Arlington taking damage buffs here in terms of the raw output they're capable of providing here.
Yeah, it feels like they just have a really good strategy and they know exactly what they're doing, which is we're going to just use ults in certain combinations and then build up our other ults in the meantime. They used 3 there, but now they have 3 to work with almost. They have 2 right now. They're probably going to combo the EMP and this Reaper Ult if Ultra can get out alive, which they can.
Of course, Ultra going to have those escape routes scouted. Super Juice gets hacked, but we've seen them win without Super Juice before. The Death Blossom and the Sound Barrier, or the EMP rather, both coming out. But it's a return Death Blossom. Ratchet Knight not able to find much for their efforts, though, as they get brought down by creeps. Now Arlington looking to do a little bit more damage, but not getting as aggressive this time around.
That EMP was so close to being online. Ratchet Knight getting a bit too impatient. Maybe it was just trying to, be the hero player there, get those picks, but it was not meant to be so many people on your team dead already. The good news is that you have ults to work with, and the other team really only has support ults. You should be able to push this a little bit further as Lumen Mary, but you need to make sure Super Juice gets hit, and they do.
The 6-man EMP coming through Tomato down, and now we're seeing Unique just try to swing up, sweep everybody else off the field of laundry, invest Coalescence as well. Not sure that one was needed, but probably better safe than sorry for William and Mary.
I mean, was that 4 ults that was used by William and Mary right there? I'm looking at their ult bank, and yeah, they really overcommitted, and now look at the ults that are going to be built up on the side of Arlington. They have the colon. That might be all you need to win a fight if you can push aggressively enough. Unique and Gavin going to be really up front, going to have to back up now before they get taken out.
We are seeing this car around the final bend, and Super Juice gets hacked out. That would be crucial of a kill, considering that sound barrier taken off the table, out of the way, but Darko activates the Coalescence, ready to go through. Unique throws in the Earth Shatter, but doesn't seem to land on a whole lot. Tomato brought down, not able to be healed by their Moira as much as they like, and then Gavon gonna be throwing in the grab as well. This looks good for William and Mary so far to just seal up this second point. They're gonna deliver it through Streets phase, but 2 minutes and 10 is not a favorable time bank.
Definitely not. Maybe 3 fights, 4 if you die really quickly. Nuke Llama really stepping it up in that fight, was able to hack out the Lucio not once, but I believe twice, that beat being canceled. Now they have to know, they have to take a dry fight for William and Mary. There are 5 ultimates on the side of UT Arlington. You can lose a fight or 2, it's okay. As long as you finish with a minute, you should be all right. Right now, not even moving the cart.
So far, just a lot of contesting coming through from both these sides, and UT Arlington going to be a little bit more than happy to do. Knowing that the time bank is just going to keep burning and burning. The EMP does come out from Dez, lands just on the Unique, drops the shield, and that's all they need is the Earth Shatter response. TF2 does drop the sound barrier to keep their team alive, and now the push through comes in from William and Mary. They're actually mitigating a lot of ultimates coming in from UT Arlington here, but Ultra Polito going to be dropping out the final ultimate, as that Death Blossom is what it takes to put everybody away and get UT Arlington this win.
And Unique used the Shatter. I'm not sure if it went off or they died during the animation, but that is huge. You have the EMP so close by, but that's a huge pick onto Super Juice. You have the EMP, you have the Death Blossom. This is still winnable for you.
It certainly is. Don't have to worry about that Lucio coming through. Nuke Llama EMP manages to get 4. And so far, William and Mary getting these kills that they need. They're investing a lot here, but they will have Coalescence for this next coming fight and contest.
Yeah, they need to get that grab online. If you can combine the Cole and the grab, that might be good enough to win it. And Dez, you need to kill Dez because Dez, again, very, very close to an EMP. And if they get it, that's going to be lights out for William and Mary on this map.
Dez actually gets the hack onto Ratchet Knight, not able to use those cooldowns for Reaper. And Ratchet Knight does get taken down. Tomato Lord throws in the Earth Shatter, doesn't find much as they couldn't combo with Dez. Dez throws in the EMP, manages to get 4. Now, we're seeing the UT Arlington so far holding their own thus far. Now, the grab does come out, Kabat throwing it in, but gets locked down of their own, sent back to spawn, and now just a little bit of the boop coming in for TF2, and timer's gonna tick down, and Arlington takes it without the worry of a second round.
That was really close. William and Mary really stepped it up near the end of their attack. Just a little bit too late. The time bank was not in their favor after struggling so much on that second point. But you got to feel pretty good about that. I mean, both these maps have been pretty close. DePaul maybe a little bit less close on that second point, but that first point was so close. And right now, William and Mary, they're on death's bed for this match. They need to win the next map, which is going to be Temple of Anubis, or they're going to be going home today. Another loss on the season, dropping to 0-2. Meanwhile, UTA, they're feeling good. They're up 2-0. They want to finish it out and go up to 2-0 and, be at the higher echelon of this group, of this league. But we are going to be right back in a little bit. We're going to have a short break. Don't go anywhere.
Hello and welcome back, everybody. We are witnessing the match between William and Mary and UT Arlington. For your casting entertainment, Sir Waltham and Jag. Jag, we've been seeing some pretty aggressive gameplay come out of Arlington so far.
Absolutely. I mean, they have gotten the Sombra play down to a T. It really seems like Dez knows what they're doing, and the team knows how to follow up on that aggression as well. But William and Mary, I wouldn't count them out just yet. They've shown great improvement from week one. They are in this series. It's just come down to a few misplays or a few key plays from the other team that have sealed the deal on these last two maps. We're going to Temple of Anubis, and as we talked about before the break, this is do or die for William and Mary. they are going to be out of this series if they lose this next map. UT Arlington looking to finish it up. What do you think William and Mary have to do right now to get back into this and take this map?
Well, I think William and Mary are so far on a good path, right? We saw them, struggle a little bit more on DePaul than we did just now on Kings Row. So I think that right now they're adapting a little bit. I think Nuklama going up against Dez, it just looks inferior. I hate to say it. I don't mean any disrespect, but you need to be catching Dez out a little bit more, or at least as much as they're catching you out, because right now, whenever we see Nuklama go into those backlines or go a little bit too deep, or even when Dez is in their backlines, it always seems like Nuklama is the one getting hacked, never the other way around.
I agree with you. It did seem like Nuklama was stepping it up a little bit by the end of that. There were some really good hacks, some really good EMPs that enabled William and Mary a bit too late on Kings Row, but that's the past. This is the present. They got to worry about the future as well if they can win this map. Very interesting comps we're seeing. We're going to see Unique and Gavin on the Hog Sigma. This is a comp that's been played a lot, especially in Overwatch League on the older patch. The Ana instead of the Zen and Ash. And I don't know if the Sombra really fits into this comp. Usually you want the double snipers, double poke comp, just high damage at a distance.
We will see exactly how it pays off for William and Mary. Ultra Polito going to be going up high, looking for that Widow grapple shot. Doesn't quite find it. Nuklama, however, able to build up a decent chunk of their ultimate off of some early SMG damage, and Ultra Polito staying on this low ground has to be playing very carefully as TF2 is better, does pocket Ratchet, but doesn't matter if the headshots come through. Doesn't look like the res is going to be provided for that from that Mercy, or rather TF2 does eventually get taken down. The hack onto the Hog, and already UT Arlington has this in their pocket.
Yeah, it looks like we might have another 3-0 on the books today. I hate to see it for William and Mary, but that defense just fell a little bit flat, and the tactical crouch coming out from Super Juice. My man, or woman, or whatever you identify as, you can't do that. It's just not nice.
Certainly looking to give them some sort of tactical advice there, but an early headshot onto Gavant means they have to back it up just a little bit. Ultra Polito taking their presence on the high ground, making it be known, as now we're going to be seeing that soldier that we talked about a little bit earlier tonight. Gonna be trying to throw in with it. The dive coming in deep from Tomato Lord has to play very carefully against Unique. That Hog can just lock down that Winston and really put the hurt in, but the response from Creeds to block a lot of that damage with the Diva Matrix. Very wise, excellent team play coming through for both these teams so far. Ultra Polito not able to find as many shots as you might prefer on that Widow, but just instead letting the front line do all the work. Nuklama going to be throwing in the EMP. However, the Ana being separated here by Tomato Lord is going to cause a little bit of a distraction for the side of William and Mary. Progress already being ticked up. Everybody gets cleaned, and even Ultra Polito throwing some kills on the board.
Don't even have to use the EMP. So fresh, so clean by UT Arlington. They are dominant, and that poor Ana just being slapped around by the Winston in the back. Primal Rage, if you know how to use it correctly, is honestly one of the best ults in the game, especially if you can get a squishy in a small space. Just slap them up and around, and they have no chance. Ana not able to hit the sleep there, and that's lights out for them until they get respawn. Didn't get respawn there because the round ended. 5-11 in the time bank. It just seems like every time we go to 2CP Assault, we just see bigger and bigger time banks. These teams are looking to one-up each other in different matches. I'm here for it. It's great seeing a team be so dominant. It's even better seeing the team that got dominated come back and put up a fight. Right now, William and Mary fighting for their lives and already off to not so great of a start.
I'm curious here. We see Tomato Lord on the Wrecking Ball. Nuklama played the Sombra for a little bit. You have to think that that's kind of something that Arlington's either aware of or that they aren't that concerned about, right? Because Wrecking Ball can be put in a very vulnerable spot if he gets hacked out.
It's really interesting, too, because for the first time, we're going to see Dez not on the Sombra. We're also going to see a very different comp, the Tracer, the Hammond, the Mercy, the Zen, the Sigma. I can't tell exactly what they're looking to accomplish. Maybe they're just hoping that they can out-damage them with the Ash and then have the Tracer on the flank. But if Tomato Lord jumps in, Nuklama's going to have a free hack. That's going to be a lot of alt charge. Right now, William and Mary might have the compositional advantage for the first time.
Let's see if they can make it happen. Unique knocking off a lot of key members off that high ground. William and Mary now in a very advantageous position where they can just push up if they have that opportunity. Tomato Lord will be taking a little bit of a nap. That Wrecking Ball has to back up, get regrouped, and use that adaptive shield a little bit earlier than they would like. But UT Arlington able to compose themselves as we do see that wraparound coming in from William and Mary. We see Gabon taking the charge with this Roadhog up top. Now it's all a question of just waiting to see which way this goes. UT Arlington keeping this angle pressured with the Ash. We even see the Dynamite going out. Again, more time bought off by UT Arlington is going to be more comfortable for them. And it just seems like they don't really know how they want to deal with Dez here, Jag.
They can't. There's nothing that can really get there. They could have the Reaper maybe teleport across, but that can still be an easy clap for the Ash. So they're in good position. Unique now all the way behind. Isn't going to be found out just yet. And now they're all over the place. Gavin going to try to take the point.
Gavin going to be going in with that Roadhog. The Bob, however, has had enough time to be built up. Gavin going to be getting the Nano Boost, trying to deal some damage here, interrupting the Sigma Accretion Rock. So fortunate there, but Arlington still going to be pulling out a little bit more fortune. Super Juice trying to duel a Wrecking Ball right about now with a little bit of backup, so I guess it's not exactly a 1v1. Still managing to get these kills for their team is UT Arlington, and now again, tactical crouches coming through.
Super Juice, stop it. I see you with the tactical crouching, just enough. I mean, right now, I'm not surprised if you're Zen and you're getting trans that quickly. You're doing a pretty good job. Right now, the problem for William and Mary is they have speedy heroes and they have the Lucio speed, but they don't know how to play this. They don't know who to go after. We're seeing that UTA just so split and they're doing so well with it.
There are some openings that are coming through, but does get taken down early on in this fight, courtesy of Dez, the coach gun being used to blast Unique away. Arlington already seem like they have this fight in their pocket, as now the respawns have to come in from William and Mary. And they're not too keen to peek in just yet. The ball trying to get to point, but taken down once again by Super Juice. It's just William and Mary dying by a slow bleed right now, Jag.
Yeah, they look a bit lost. They look a little bit out of this game already. And there was a really good chance to take out Creets at one point. They were antied. We saw that Gavin fell, and after that, it just seemed like the rest of the team was too scared to do anything. Now a pulse bomb onto the Ana. Oh, this is looking so good right now for UTA. Now only a minute left, and again, we're seeing that William and Mary, they have ultimates. They have a lot of ultimates. In fact, 4. They're going to give up 1. It looks like they're going to switch off the Ana, so no Nano trying to build up a Colt instead. They can't force the point, and even with 3, 4 is better than 3, and that's what UT Arlington has.
And right now, if you're Nuklama, you have to be looking for Super Juice on that Zenyatta. Not only because of the mad disrespect, but also because that EMP hitting the Zen is then such a vulnerable target, no Transcendence. However, we do hear the Mines initiate Unique starting this fight, and Super Juice not quite caught out. It does get hacked, so not going to be able to use that Transcendence. It gets hit with the EMP, rather, but it looks like that's going to be the only kill right off the bat for William and Mary. They're not quite able to push in as fast as they can, and that just looks so anemic, Jack.
It is not looking good for William and Mary. They did get a few picks, but right now they're chasing a ball who's in their backline. If they can get Tomato Lord, that might be a great way to start this out, and they will. Now they need to put the full-on engage. They need to put pedal to the metal. There's still 4 ults on the side of UTA, and I'm sure this Bob is just willing to come out, and there it is.
Willing and ready. We're going to be seeing the Gravitic Flux come out as well, just to lock people down a little bit more, make it a little bit comfortable, a little bit more rushed to the point. Dez has to get off that high ground to avoid the ball, but William and Mary now starting to find some footing of their own. The Coalescence is going to come out, keep a lot of those members alive, notably TF2. Coming out, just try to keep themselves in this fight. Mercy getting brought dangerously low, but Kabot not able to close the kill, and now this Minefield, a very unfortunate position for the side of William and Mary, although it looks like they're able to just zone out a little bit, avoid a lot of those mines. Sigma Shield going to be so great at neutralizing them as well. Unique, however, caught out in the backline, can't group up with the rest of their team as they are taking a bunch of damage. And so far, it's looking great, but they still haven't quite got this in the bag yet. We are hearing the Doomfist come out. Ultra Polito just trying their best to get those early kills. They want to end this here and now. Darko gets taken down by the Gravitic Flex, having to use that Grasp to try to keep themselves alive. And again, Tomato Lord having to back up. These Wrecking Balls just buy so much time here, but eventually it will be the way, falling to Arlington. And with that, they take another 3-0 in the books.
The emergency Doomfist being clutch at the very end, where you see that Ultra will not be stopped, is actually going to get play of the game here for that last second heroic. So not a bad way to end your game. It looks like for a second that William & Mary might force to point two, but the focus just not there in the end. They weren't able to get the kills they needed, even with that far spawn. UTA able to get back into it. UTA, I'm very impressed with what I've seen so far from them this season. I think they're one of the teams at the top of the pack.
I'm certainly going to be a huge fan of them, an unbiased fan, if I might add.
Definitely not location-based at all, right?
Definitely not location-based bias there at all. But as we look ahead, UT Arlington, to kind of wrap it all up here, taking a clean, I would say a very clean 3-0 against William & Mary. They stuttered a little bit on Kings Row, but everything else looked pretty good for them.
Yeah, William & Mary showed promise, and I think that's the biggest thing you can do. You're down 0-2 on the season, but the season is far from over. There's plenty of time to recoup, recover. These are all students. They all know how to learn. So I think if you're William & Mary, you can be proud of the performance you put on. Definitely some things to be working on. But you put a pretty good fight up against UTA, at least for Kings Row. A pretty good one as well on DePaul. I think by the end, though, on King Temple Anubis, they just kind of had the gas taken out of them. There was no more, motivation. It's hard to get back into a series when you're down so deep and you have to reverse sweep to win.
Yeah, it's always a rough spot to be in mentally and mechanically as far as your performance goes. And as we get later and later into the night, that might be a factor to consider here. People might get a little bit more tired. I mean, college students have that college sleep schedule. I know I was at least at one point a college student. So overall, we'll see how these plays develop. But speaking of a little bit of a longer night, we do have Fairfield University and St. Peter's University coming up here in just a little bit, Jag. Another one I'm sure to be excited for.
It's going to be a good one. St. Peter's, we haven't seen them yet because they won through forfeit. Fairfield, we saw last week, they did not win, but they're still looking to get back into this season as well. These teams that are 0-1, they need to, they got to make a stand at the beginning of the season. Definitely not out if you go down 0-2, as I said before, but 1-1 at 0.5, a lot better than staring at that 0.0.
You're certainly going to be liking that a little bit more, but that will be here in just a little bit. So stick around, folks. We will be back with some more action. But, Jag, why don't you give the people the lovely alternative channel if they want to catch up with some other games that may be going on over there?
Yeah, if you want to check the other game out, it's currently over, so you'll have to wait a little bit. You can watch both at the same time when the next ones come up. It's always great, have two on your screen or two monitors, a screen and a phone, whatever you can do. It's always great. But if you want to check that out, that is the channel EGF Overwatch, also on Twitch.
The big brain plays. Also, we have 40 minutes before the next game. Just watch the VOD. It's fine. But with that being said, we are going to be taking a little bit of a break here, folks. So stay tuned. You're not going to want to miss Fairfield versus St. Peter's.
Hello, friends. And for those of you sticking around for the break, just a little clarification. The next game between Fairfield University and St. Peter's University is at 10:30, not at 10. Just stick around. It's going to be another 35 minutes or so, but it's going to be a great game. We're looking forward to bringing it to you. See you on the flip side.
Hello and welcome, everyone, to some more fantastic EGF college games for Overwatch. Most specifically, Broadcasting Entertainment is going to be Sir Waltham and Jag. And Jag, we just saw a 3-0. I'm hoping we don't see it again in this game between Fairfield and St. Peter's. What's your take?
Well, it's been 3-0s all day, very similar to last week. The only one that was a 3-1 was not one of the ones that you or I casted. I think it's going to be more of the same. Here is the thing, though. Even though St. Peter's is going into this week 1-0, they did not play. That was a forfeit when they got. So we, again, don't really have that much information on them, which gives them kind of an advantage. There's no VODs. There's nothing to review. We have no idea what strategies they're going to run. A bit of an enigma going into this match. Meanwhile, Fairfield did not fare so well last week. They did get a little bit rolled through 0-3 for them, so they fell to 0-1 on the season. And one thing they did, especially on Hanamura, was it seemed like they didn't really know what direction to play, and they didn't know what to solidify their comp with. They just were playing hero musical chairs by the end of it, had no chance to build up an alt bank, and that can happen, you know, when you find yourself in a hole in what seems like a pretty one-sided game. But as I've said, for all of those teams that are going into this week 0-1, there's still plenty of time, and now is a perfect opportunity to get back into the season, make it a 1-1 record.
Yes, will truly be a litmus test, perhaps the first one for St. Peter's, as you mentioned, that last round forfeit point. Not really speaking a whole lot to them right now, but you know, they're going to be happy walking away with at least something moving forward. As we do look ahead, this is going to be starting off on DePaul here. I do believe we're going to be going off into Village. And what do you think we might expect to see here, Jack? More of the same?
I believe this is Sanctuary, unless my eyes deceive me. But, you know, DePaul, a lot of these maps look very similar, very beautiful with how Blizzard has designed them. It's going to be pretty brawly, is my guess. You know, you have that column kind of in the middle that you can play for natural cover. Sim can be really good here because you can just have the turrets on top of the point and just, you know, have the microwave roaming, not just from your gun, but from the turrets. I expect them at least to use it for the teleport. It looks like what we're seeing right now from Fairfield, pretty standard, no Sombra. I'm assuming they're going to swap that Symmetra to a Reaper, maybe stick on it, but Zodiac Killer on that Ana. They tried it last week. They found some value, but the Moira that might be seen come out from St. Peter's might be enough. And is Nachos really going to stick onto this Hammond? They might be going for a bit of a chaos comp here on the side of St. Peter's.
It's going to be risky. Nachos and Rez both going to be pretty vulnerable to great aspects. And the Sim, of course, if it does come out, it doesn't. It's going to be switched on to the Tracer instead. Now we're going to be seeing a Fairfield push right up to meet their opponents. And already Adric taking quite a bit of damage on that. Reinhardt has to back off for just a little bit. Well, Soba, appropriately named, if I might say, on the Hanzo here, looking for just any shots they can get, peering over those stairs. Any opportunity they can find, but it's going to be the first kill going on to Wrench Ricardo, opening things up just a little bit for St. Peter's here. The question is, does the momentum carry? Ricardo does continue to push forward, using those Hellfire shotguns to some great effect. Ana trying to claim things back, but Zodiac not quite able to. Now it's all just a little bit of cleanup here.
Hellfire, definitely a good way to describe them. A good name for them. It's basically fire and brimstone once those guns are in your face. And WLK on this Tracer, a very different pick than what I expected. I think they're going to struggle with that upfront battle, even though Nachos is on the Wrecking Ball, so there isn't a Reinhardt shield to worry about. You've got two flankers. You got the Sombra and the Tracer. Who is going to be fighting those battles up front? Who is going to be helping your tank line? You're going to see Nachos going to roll on through with these mines to start off this fight.
Nachos drops the mine and immediately finds a value for it. Zodiac Killer going down. Ricardo looking to find some value of their own, pushing now onto the Reinhardt, who gets bobbled back by this massive tank line. No, we're just seeing St. Peter's continue to hold this spot. Soba getting some exit frags on the way out.
Yeah, that Hunter's bow being put to good use. Maybe no shock darts on their side, but, you know, they have those spam arrows. They have the arrow to figure out where they are. Not going to find anything with that sonar arrow. They have the dragon online now. It'll be very interesting to see how these is now Adrix swapping off of the Rhine. They're going to give up that shield to try to get more CC.
We'll see if they can find it. Sova looking to hop back, perhaps setting up for those dragons as mentioned, but Zodiac Killer going down very early on, an advantageous spot. Rez and Ricardo both throwing their ultimates in at the same time. Not quite sure it was necessary considering Ricardo got 2 kills off the Blossom. Either way, it's invested and it still makes them hold point.
They still have ults to use. They still have 3. They still have the Sova Dragon, which could be the biggest thing they have right now. That Hanzo Dragon could work out very well for them. You know, getting my characters confused with these names, I think that's on purpose. But now WLK is in the backline, maybe looking for a stick. Is going to find the Tracer, but that's not going to be enough to take someone down. That Tracer got a lot of health.
WLK gonna be finding the Lucio, who does get res, then immediately drops that sound barrier, keeping St. Peter's up just a little bit longer. Sova struggling to find the Hog, eventually does land, and with this now, a few more arrows going out. Minmin already had the Valkyrie on a line though, will be using the pistol to try to keep themselves up, taking down the Tracer with a bop to the head. Overtime's gonna tick down, and St. Peter's looking so far so good.
I think Fairfield has a good idea of, you know, running this composition, but WLK on the Tracer, you need that Reaper, maybe a Hanzo, just something up front, you know, it's going to be doing a lot of damage. The Tracer on the flank is able to get that Pulse Bomb kill, but it's not going to even matter when you got a Mercy on the other side. It's going to get a big res. A lot of ultimates just not going to be thrown out there at the end. I mean, Zodiac Killer had the Nano, wasn't able to get it on anyone, so the stagger coming out from St. Peter's, very good. Now we're going to be going to Boop City. We're going to be going to Sanctum. It has that hole on the point. Very easy to knock people off, and Nacho is going to be sticking on this Hammond. I'm sure we're going to be seeing a lot of people being thrown into the hole via Hamster.
Now, what an appropriate name for someone who seems to play one of the cheesiest tanks so far. Nacho's going to be on that wrecking ball. As you mentioned, just trying to get a little bit of disruption going along. Sova throwing out some sonar arrows, trying to keep the sights up and open. And immediately the dive comes in a little bit heavy from St. Peter's. The Diva and the wrecking ball both looking to get in, but Nachos does get hacked, has to cause them to back up just a little bit. But St. Peter's looking good. Atric goes down with a punch to the face from Sellout Squad. Zodiac does bring them back online, but at the cost of not supporting their Ashe, and because of that now, it's going to be a 1-for-1 res death trade. And Nachos looking to push ahead, does have the hack though, so can't utilize all of their abilities. Ricardo now looking to chase onto that Mercy. Support looking to get away so far.
This peel for Nachos has been amazing twice now. Been in not great positions, maybe a third time as they throw themselves into the line. Now going to be hacked out. Might be too late now, but the Diva is there to eat some of the damage. Nacho's living on a prayer, but that prayer is good enough to get them out of there. Right now, St. Peter's is doing amazing as a team.
Oh, and Nachos has the minefield, drops it right in an uncomfortable spot for anybody on the side of Fairfield to be in. As we see, they're going to deal with those mines pretty quickly, pretty swiftly. However, it's going to be a few kills still going in favor of St. Peter's. They do drop the Death Blossom. I say a few kills, but it was the entire board.
Yeah, Rez got D-Mech, so I'm wondering now if they're going to look just for the reset, throw themselves off the map, but it looks like they're going to be staying alive. So if you're on the side of Fairfield, you know that they don't have the Diva Mech alive right now. You have the EMP, you have the Cole, and great aspects in it. Finally take down Nachos. This is right now the fight they're looking for.
WLK coming in on the Junkrat as well. A lot of burst damage can be done. The traps can lock down Nachos as well. WLK able to take down Ricardo. I think that Reaper to be no more of a threat. Great aspects. Gonna be seeing the sound barrier on a line for Sellout Squad. Gonna be sure to call that one out for the next fight. Is Sova one of the last few to get cleaned up. Rez try and dive on the point, just hold out as long as possible. And Fairfield still has not been able to command at this point just yet. Some great stall coming out from the side of St. Peter's, alternating the manpower that they have on point, although they are losing members faster and faster with Minmin. With Rez going down now, it looks like this is about the time for them to take it back and regroup.
A great stall, though, from St. Peter's. They got 86% on that point. Probably got an extra 25 for free just with their stall. Didn't use any ults, which was really important. I was worried Rez might use the Diva Bomb just as a contest, but in the end saves it. They have 5 ults going into this fight. There is still the EMP from Great Aspects. They need to hit it. They need to hit it soon, because if they don't, this is last fight territory, and they're the translocator being found out.
And the Junkrat almost takes a trip into the dip. And now they are seeing the Mines come out right onto point. A lot of ults being committed here for St. Peter's. They really want to try to take this, and Adric goes down that primal, not quite able to save them this time around. Does get rezzed up, but the EMP comes out as a response from Great Aspect. Now Sellout Squad gonna be trying to keep their team alive with the sound barrier going online. St. Peter's gonna be trying to keep it up. Ricardo does fall to the Junkrat Total Mayhem. The grab locking everybody in this side room, absolutely crucial coming in from Wrench. If they can continue to get these kills, they continue to build up the point progress. The hack onto the Wrecking Ball is going to ensure he can't get away, and Nachos, the last one to crash and burn.
Sellout Squad didn't get hacked there, but they ended up using the beat a little bit late, and from there they got the first pick, and Fairfield able to hang on for their lives. They need to get this point to force a third point on DePaul, which would be Village. Now, Sova has an ult, Ricardo almost has an ult, Nachos almost has an ult, but it's not going to matter when you're going back to spawn. Fairfield doing good on this defense right now. Now they built up a primal.
And it is going to be a very late Dragons coming out. Fairfield does force out, or rather has the Primal Rage forced out, but the Death Blossom coming and getting a 3 off the back end. Ricardo almost getting knocked into the pit, but just uses that cool Rage form to hop themselves right on the point.
They have a little bit of time now to touch on the side of Fairfield, but they need their Sombra to stay alive. She touches too early. It's not going to trigger overtime. You need to touch her in the last 5 seconds. Can anyone get back? The tire's coming out, and their Moira's going to fall. It's not going to matter in the end. St. Peter is going to take away DePaul 2-0.
Yeah, Fairfield struggling just a little bit there. As soon as that Sombra kind of came uncloaked, you can kind of tell she was not long for this world, not at the performance level we've been seeing St. Peter's University playing at so far. Perhaps a little bit too ambitious there. Of course, we are seeing the big 3-man Death Blossom come through. So well done, Ricardo, on that one. But now we have one up for St. Peter's. How does Fairfield stabilize, Jack?
I think they need a Reaper of their own. I said this in a prior game, but when you don't have that Reaper to take pressure off your tanks, that other Reaper is just going to pressure your tanks, and your tanks are not going to have a good time. We saw Ricardo on the flank getting a lot of value. They didn't even realize there was a Reaper right behind them. A big Death Blossom going to secure that round for them. But Fairfield, you know, like the last team that we saw that came in with a loss, look a lot better than they did that first week. It seems like they have kind of practiced and they've been improving. Fairfield, you know, they looked like they just were one step behind there, but Kings Row would be the perfect place for them to catch up and tie this series up.
We'll certainly see it. Kings Row is the map that puts the sauce in Fairfield's secret recipe, but looking ahead, we've already seen kind of a few players we've talked about pretty consistently. Who do you think the people at home need to kind of keep an eye out for, Jag, as we go through this game and eventually throughout the rest of these series?
So one thing that I talked about at the top of this game was that I've already seen WLK play, and their hero pool, while they're pretty good at the heroes they play, seems to be a little bit off meta. As we saw, you know, they throw out the Tracer, a lot of Hanzo is what I've seen from WLK primarily. You gotta adjust sometimes to what's best. If you can do that and, you know, maybe you're not as good as it, but, you know, you just work through it, you adapt on the fly, that can work. But I think on the other side, Nachos is the one you got to be looking for at St. Peter's. They have not run a main tank at all so far. They've been only running this Wrecking Ball. It's just worked out for them. Very few times has Nachos fallen, even though he's been hacked, or they've been hacked multiple times throughout this series. And yet still, just that Hammond is staying alive over and over and over again. So if you can create a diversion, you can be a menace in the backline, create a distraction, you're doing a great job on what you consider a very cheesy tank.
Well, here's the question from me to you. If you have the Sombra already hacking the Wrecking Ball and he's still not dying, how do you deal with him further? Do you switch to something that can lock him down like a May, a McCree, or what would be the strategy here for Fairfield if they just wanted to focus on the ball?
I think my answer is probably the same, because I think the Reaper is the best situation. Reaper is a tank buster, just so much burst damage the bigger an opponent is. And, you know, Wrecking Ball, he a bit thick. Hammond a bit thick in that mech that Wrecking Ball has. So I think that's a great counter that you could have, but we just have not seen the Reaper come out from WLK yet. You know, maybe great aspects to do it. Maybe WLK could do the Sombra. Nothing wrong with swapping things up, but they are not going to be doing either of those things, as right now they're going to be running the Ashe May on their defense. This is pretty peculiar. The May can work because if you can just wall someone off and run into them, it works out very, very well. The Ash is pretty good on the high ground, but with no Mercy Pocket, maybe not as valuable as they're hoping.
Well, we'll see what kind of value exactly gets brought out here. But yeah, you mentioned it. The Mercy not being on the field does seem like a little bit of a red flag here to me, at least when you compare it to, what typically is run with that Ash. Likewise, on the opposite side of the field, it looks like Ryan and Zarya might equally come out here in force.
Yeah, Rez going to be on the shield tank, so now it's just going to be moving to the off-tank role, so a bit of a swap. We saw Rez on that D.Va beforehand, but Sova staying on this Hanzo, and Hanzo's Hansbo is going to find picks one way or another. Right now, they're just looking for that wall. Great Aspects is itching for it, but will they be able to find it?
On the wall going back a little bit farther than expected, but the pin still trying to come through from Adric, but it costs them dearly. Rez does go down. Wrench able to pull this fight back, but St. Peter's may have already done the damage just taking down one. That respawn is faster, but weren't able to quite get the kills fast enough. They're going to have to take the back out.
Zodiac Killer getting 2 assists and a kill there, so that Ana play is working. Usually you don't see Ana and Lucio go together. They don't have great synergy. Ana is a single heal kind of character, Moira is an AoE, which is why generally you see her with the Lucio is also AoE, but doing work from the high ground, almost has that nano, and if Adric goes too deep again, they might need to use it as an emergency.
Adric does almost have this Earth Shatter online, a couple swings, and they will be there. Gonna be going in for the Fire Strike, but another big pin, this time from Rez. So risky pins coming out from both these Reinhardts. The Dragons do come out from Sova, separating the field, and that gives St. Peter's the opportunity to just open up here. Zodiac Killer trying to play from on high, trying to do what they can. Has that nano in hand. Doesn't look like they quite want to invest it yet. Not going to be given the option to, as Sova continues to burn them down with those arrows. You often call them logs, but now St. Peter's going to be getting the point cap so far.
Those logs do not miss heads, that is for sure. The good news right now for Fairfield is that they lost that fight so quickly. They can take another run right here at the Archway, which is a great place for the defense to hold. We're going to see that no one is on the cart right now for St. Peter's. They want to take this a 66. They want to win that fight and get as much progression on Street's face as possible.
We'll see if they can get it. WLK up on this high ground, trying to just provide a little bit of a threat. Adric going in for another pin. These Ryans seem to be defined by their pins. Adric going to be going for the Shatter, knowing there's no shields. Doesn't find a whole lot, however. He's going to be pushing the side of St. Peter's back. And now, looks like Fairfield able to dig their heels in and put a real defense down.
Yeah, great bubbles by Nachos right there to basically neglect the Shatter completely. Now Ultimate's online for both sides, but right now Fairfield has a lot more to work with.
Let's see if Fairfield is going to be able to utilize them as they need. The Earth Shatter comes out, but an excellent Maywall coming in as well from Great Aspects, blocking out a lot of that line of sight. Now the High Noon as well coming in. Gets 4, everybody locked down into the grab. Gets put into the dirt. The May just trying to stall out, as is Adric, but going for that Hanzo, can't quite get him, and now he just realizes how far back in enemy lines he is.
I was wondering why Silva didn't go for the grab dragon, and with Ricardo's high noon, it makes complete sense. Not the highest of noons, but definitely a great 4K that's going to get them a lot of room. I'm not even sure. It looks like they will be able to re-engage this. They have 5 ultimates on the side of Fairfield, only committing the beat. Now it looks like they might be backing up because their Rhine isn't there.
A costly effort, but the Rhine will contest with less than a meter left. Rez feeling the pressure, but holds shield steady as Adric goes for the Earth Shatter. Silva going to be taking down 2 with their ultimate. Those Dragons once again coming in big for the team, helps them to secure this second point.
Zodiac Killer has been holding on to this Nano for so long, and Nano is a lot like Moira Coalescence. They are built very quickly, and it's okay if you don't use them in the best scenarios. You'll get them back in half a fight. They've been holding on to it, and Adric has been hung out a little bit to dry because of that. Now look at Ricardo. He's going to take out Zodiac Killer on the flank.
And Zodiac Killer had so many opportunities to respond. Ricardo missed 2 shots on an almost still target, but Fairfield now going to be pushing in. They see that they have taken down the Lucio. Now they're going to be trying to push ahead, but they still want to deal with this McCree in the back. Eventually, Wrench fires some right clicks towards them. Those cannon shots coming in big. However, we're seeing them now try to lean onto Adric to try to get that benefit here, and we're going to see them invest the Earth Shatter in as well. Adric Gets a big pin onto Rez, but the big bubble coming in from Nacho as well. Going to be answered by an Earth Shatter coming online as Adric falls. So Fairfield not able to get a lot for that, especially considering St. Peter's was already on the retreat.
Adric maybe going a bit too deep once again. Got the Shatter off though before dying, and that was the big play that really helped him secure that fight. Now, Adric is going to be back in time for the next one, but the ult economies have completely flipped. St. Peter's have so much to work with. There are so many combinations they can go for right now, and they are marching towards that point.
The
oh no!
Zero doesn't seem to find a whole lot. Brez getting punished for it, gets knocked into the pit, courtesy of masks. And now the sound barrier coming out from that same Lucio to try to get aggressive St. Peter's a little bit on the back foot, trying to just make it back to spawn, not give up any more ults.
Adric, once again, deep, almost gets the counterpart in res, but is going to be able to get them out. Great Aspects is on the Reaper, but it's not going to be enough. Adric did not get out in the end, and now this is a disaster as they have no beat to counter this grab.
And not a whole lot of shielding either, going to be locked into those dragons right to the face. It's now going to be St. Peter's carrying this cart. Enough time for a contest, but it might be a haggard one.
They do have the grab. They almost have the Shadow. We're seeing Adric just hiding out, waiting to touch with more than just them. They are now going to be approaching this point, but Adric again falling so low after the charge.
Ricardo with this high noon, ready to creep around into the back, drops the grab as well. Zodiac Killer gets flashed out, fanned the hammered upon, but Ricardo not able to find anything with this high noon, has to cancel it early because Great Aspects pushes up on them. However, Great Aspects not able to overwhelm Nachos, as now St. Peter's going to be moving in this cart to that third. Not much to contest there, and just under 2 minutes is going to be the time St. Peter's has achieved.
I gotta ask you, Sir Waltham, how often do you see a flank McCree?
In the games I cast or in the games I play? Two different answers.
Definitely the games you cast, not the games you play.
Significantly less so than that. I mean, that could have been a very powerful maneuver, but you had that Reaper that was pushing too aggressively onto you. You couldn't wait out his Wraith form. You had to wait a little bit to take out the Ana as well. Overall, I liked the concept. The execution left much to be desired, I think.
I agree with you for the most part. I think that the McCree in the backline really helped in more than one way, as we saw in that first, the first time they did the rollout where the McCree was going for the Ana, they got the kill. What happened to the rest of Fairfield? They all turned around, and yeah, they got the kill, but they gave up a good amount of space. They did end up winning that fight, I believe. They just had a few ults to use. They were able to get a regroup, but it's the same concept, of the Wrecking Ball in your backline. You turn around, you give up so much space. It's just free real estate for the attackers to move on in. But a good defense, 2 minutes, probably the lowest or the least timing we've seen today. So good start for Fairfield right now, but they need to have a good attack. We've seen so many teams have all right defenses and then still out on this first point. They're going to be going out with the Sim, maybe trying to get the Ashe on top of the statue or just trying to rotate all the way around.
We'll see what kind of plans Great Aspects has cooking up there. They are going to be rotating up onto that high. Great Aspects already throwing down some of those mini sentries to try to poke and prod at St. Peter's. But Sova having to tear their attention away, not able to put the pressure onto that Rhine shield now because of those turrets. And Great Aspects are going to start to be building up that left click, that laser beam against that Rhine shield. Using that beam against the shield means you're going to get pretty much free ammo for the fight. And already Fairfield taking some progress here, leading up Ricardo as they push on the point. And the pin eaten by Adric, but Rez again finds themselves in enemy lines. The point progress continues to tick up. Now I guess the question is going to be, can the side of Fairfield manage the second tick? They successfully do. Sova walks headfirst into an Ashe, but WLK has other plans, attempts to back out and meet their Zarya. Wrench continues to put the pressure on, but Fairfield have to give up the point in the meantime.
Wrench is full charge. They can just run in as a full squad and just go full steam ahead. 96 charge, going to be decreasing a little bit. It's so close to that grab. But on the other side, a grab already.
The coalescence is coming out from both sides. Wrench gets locked into the grab with none to return of on their own. Sova throws in the dragons as a taste of good measure. And this is all just to clean up for St. Peter's. We are seeing the soldier come out, so a little bit more long-term soldier play. I like that.
Yeah, Ricardo getting off the Reaper, going to lock those legs in. And here's what I find most interesting right now about Fairfield. They drop the Lucio for a Moira, so that is a lot of extra healing, but there is no speed. It is so hard to run a Reinhardt brawl without that speed in and out. they're putting themselves at a pretty big disadvantage, and Nacho's gonna say, you know what, I'm just gonna take this fight one person out very easy, but still, it looks like they might be forcing it on the side of Fairfield despite being down one.
And Adric making a weird rotation away from the rest of their team. They get caught out. They can't really invest anything into helping that Reinhardt out. And St. Peter's absolutely going to capitalize on that mistake. Ricardo pushing up with that soldier, locking onto the Boiler and burning down masks as quick as you like. Now it's going to be Wrench trying to get back, trying to back away. However, they are going to be able to regroup, get some sort of recollection here. And we're still seeing this sim. You think it's a mistake here, Jack?
You have the wall, you've got 4 other ults to come in. Now that you have Nano, it's do or die. You gotta go in now, you gotta get it done, and here is everything being thrown at them.
Including the kitchen sink. The sound barrier comes out, as does the tack visor. Only able to achieve so much though with that wall, really mitigating those lines of sights. Adric gonna be throwing in the Earth Shatter just to get everybody on the floor, walking that Dinosaur, and Sova hiding in this clock tower, trying their best, but Adric catches them from behind with the Fire Strike. It's looking good for the offense so far. They just need to keep up this momentum, preferably before these respawns come in. And Min invest that Coalescence before it can actually go off. Dies mid-animation. A costly mistake coming in from this defense. St. Peter's might be reeling after that one.
Now the sim is gone, and the first point has been taken. 3 minutes on the clock right now for Fairfield. Not the cleanest attack, but they get it done. They have an ult apocalypse that gets them where they need to be. And Adric, again, just out in the middle of no man's land, almost falling. That could have been very dire. Is going to get out, but Zodiac Killer is not.
And Zodiac Killer not able to take cover behind that big old shield of Adric, pushed so far forward and off to the side. Just not quite able to utilize it. Ricardo trying to get some angles there, and with the Helix Rockets just not quite finding it. Nachos, keep an eye out for this grab. Might be going out this fight, but with Great Aspects going down, they may need it less and less. The bubble onto the Reinhardt to keep the team alive, keep that front tank able to take all that damage. Wrench now going to be on this D.Va, has to be looking out for Nacho. We do see the kills going all in favor of St. Peter's. This cart now going to be stalled there.
Yeah, this D.Va pick might not be the way to go. It just seems like they're not eating enough damage. You can't eat the Zarya beam. And so the Hanzo, honestly, is a really good, I was going to say so, but it's a really good pick against the D.Va. You kind of melt the mech. And Ricardo, again, finding just a pick that's going to stagger out these attackers a little bit longer. A minute off the clock, and they have not gotten any momentum so far.
We see WLK up on this high ground, trying to get some angles, trying to take advantage of this. This is a very vertical composition in general coming in from the attack mass. Going to be initiating with that Coalescence, helping the Reinhardt get that aggression that we've seen come out. But the Earth Shatter coming in, leading into Dragons off the back end of the grab, going to seal everybody up. Sova getting 2 kills with the Dragons, multiple more from the rest of the team to secure. St. Peter's performing well at a high cost.
Adric got a great shatter, but just all the ultimates being committed by St. Peter's was overwhelming. As you said, a high cost indeed. Gonna reset their ult bank a tad bit, 4 ults being used there, but Ricardo has the visor. They're all the way behind. He's not been found out. That soldier is in your backline, and it's going wild.
Oh, and Wrench flies away at that exact moment. Ricardo has the opportunity, takes down 2, with the Min getting the 3rd. I mean, the damage has already been done. You can get the soldier, but the D.Va wasn't there to respond, so you just lose those members in exchange.
Yeah, 1 ult is all it took to end that fight after using 4 in the previous one. They have their beat online, and once again, we're seeing that Fairfield has stacked their ults on top of each other, but they cannot use all of them at once. They need to have ults for later on as they get closer and closer to that second point. Now, they're going to engage on the flank.
See if the flank can buy them any sort of space, but Great Aspects goes down rather immediately. As now Bob soon to follow, but Reg getting the hero play perhaps with the D.Va bomb going in big, taking down 2, and now we can already see the tone shift in St. Peter's. They have to take a step back.
St. Peter's finally being pushed back on the second point now. It's Fairfield's match to play. Really, it's their match to lose. They do have the Shatter. They do have the Nano. All that's right now on the side of the other team is the beat, but they're so close to that grab, Dragons. And again, no counter on the side of Fairfield if they're able to pull it off. They do have the D.Va eat. They need to eat the grab or the Dragon.
Wrench really needs to play smart here. We'll see if they can manage it. Nachos having that grab on line. Our Shatter goes out, the grab not eaten. The Dragon's not eaten. Sova getting to, and Adric returning the favor with that nano boost, plugging right into them, able to be healed up by the Coalescence. The D.Va does fall, but it's at the cost of what looks to be, so far, a clean second point, or at least a successful second point. There are a few more members to clean up. Ricardo as well as Nachos being pushed into the alleyway. They're not going to be able to regroup up with the rest of their team. That's an uncomfortable spot.
Yeah, they got zoned out. It worked perfectly, but because that was in overtime, now there's only a minute 30 on the clock for Fairfield. Great Aspect's going to find a good pick onto Ricardo, but then Adrian's going to be traded out immediately. So what looks like they were in a good situation, now they're going to have to go back to the drawing board for a second. They might get cleaned out. Nachos is at such high charge.
And this is so frustrating for the side of Fairfield. You win the fight, you think it's going your way, you get the sections off, and then you still lose numbers to Nachos and that massive particle cannon. Able to use these bubbles to some great effect here, just rotating them out, using that projected to give themselves a lot of cover. Great Aspects perhaps trying to bait out a sound barrier coming in from Sellout Squad. Looks like they just got caught out a bit there, immediately translocated back. Coalescence does come on from mid, try to keep everybody healed, particularly Nacho, who has, once again, incredibly high power, high damage coming through. An anti-nade on the res leaves them particularly vulnerable, but they are able to wear it off as the Dragons cause a little bit of separation. Adric, now caught in the grab, will be the only man, and WLK bringing out a soldier of their own, looking pretty dominant on it themselves. 20 seconds left, this is going to go into overtime.
It's going to go into overtime, and they've swapped their DPS again, so the ultimate big has been reset. A nano shatter keeping them alive. Zodiac Killer is finally hitting those nanos, and Adric is following them up very well. Ricardo has the visor again, and we've seen how dominant they've been so far with it.
You just have to once again be careful if you're the D.Va. The sound barrier comes out from Sellout Squad to give themselves a lot of resistance. Ricardo doesn't get the benefit of that, and in fact gets knocked away from his healing beacon. However, the damage has been done as Wrench is no longer able to play the front lines with their team where they may perhaps be truly needed. Now, St. Peter's going to be cleaning up overtime, slowly creeping down. The Lucio not able to make it, and with that, St. Peter's U wins 3-2.
Another pretty close map for the most part. If you don't see Ricardo, they're on the flank. That's just, you gotta guess. Multiple times we've seen this happen, and as the D.Va, you gotta be aware of where it's coming from. This is another flank play. Doesn't matter what Ricardo is on, they will find the flank. If there is a way, there will be kills being found. And the Soldier, the Reaper, the McCree. Again, flank McCree, that's not something you see every day or really ever unless you're in Sir Waltham's comp games. So right now, you know, Fairfield not out of this yet, but St. Peter's definitely trying their best to make sure they are.
Yeah, and you know, I just want to go back real quick. Rewind it like 30 seconds to that play of the game we just saw. 2 HP separated Ricardo from death in that play of the game by the end of it. So 2 HP could have absolutely broken that high noon. 1 D.Va pellet, 2 D.Va pellets maybe. Overall, Fairfield putting forth a very different game from what we saw on DePaul. We saw a lot of Rhine aggression coming out here, Jag. How do you think this affects the two teams?
I think it shows that St. Peter's is very flexible. They can run more than just one comp. I was wondering, is all they run this Wrecking Ball? Is that all they know how to do? But no, clearly not. They know how to play the meta. They know how to play different characters. We've only seen Silva on the Hanzo, but so far it's been working out, so no complaints from me or from them either. Fairfield's, I just think it comes down again to musical chairs. They don't seem to be confident in what they're playing, and the minute it doesn't work out, they kind of panic and they swap. And sometimes that's okay. You got plenty of time on the clock. That's perfect. It doesn't matter if you have an ult. It's better to throw away the ult than, hold on to it forever and not get any value. But sometimes, they swap their DPS at the last second, in overtime on that last point on their attack, and it just was not, it was too late. They didn't have enough time to build anything up, and when you have Ricardo on the flank, it's hard to recover from anything.
It certainly can be, and I talked about it a bit. I liked that Wrench went to the D.Va. You just gotta be more aware when you have 2 projectile-based ults that are probably going to be comboing together. If you hear one, just immediately throw your Matrix up. You might catch the other one, right? There were so many times where we saw the Dragon Ball combo, the Zarya grab and the Dragons coming through from Hanzo that, the grab would go in like a second or two later. That's enough time to recognize, put your D.Va Matrix up and try to catch something. I think it's fair to say that Sova wasn't playing as far away from their team as they should have been to get those off cleanly.
It's really hard to be the diva in that scenario, honestly. You know, Eat is like so well timed. You have to really be on your A game or just get really lucky with it. You can put DM down for a second, and that's like when the enemy will strike if they're prepared enough for it, if they're looking for it, if they're calling abilities. Not having a defensive ult really puts you in a hole. The beat, not a great counter to the grab dragons. You got to hit it a bit later, and sometimes you can just die, you know, mid animation. Transcendence, probably the way to go because you're going to keep everyone alive through most of it. It's very hard to kill someone through a Transcendence, even with a grab dragons online. But you can't really run the Zen there because you need the speed. But they didn't even have the Lucio. They were just running, you know, the Moira Ana, and they did have the Coalescence, which seemed to be getting a good amount of value. They did have the Nano, which also seemed to be getting a good amount of value. But it doesn't matter how much value you get from those ultimates when in the end you still can't get it all the way done. Can't get that 3rd point cap. And now, as we go into Temple of Anubis, they are down 0-2.
Yeah, a very unfortunate spot here. And Jag, I like putting my co-casters in a tough spot here. Do you think Zodiac Killer on the Ana was worthwhile when compared to, you know, maybe they could have been running a Zenyatta?
I would say yes and no. I think there were some really great... I'm a flex support player, so, you know, I know everything, obviously. Everything I say, 100% correct. Don't even question it. Yeah. It's just the Nano, like I said earlier, you can charge so quickly. It's okay to kind of use it more defensively to save someone, especially if you're Ryan's in a not great predicament. It seems like they were so dedicated to using it aggressively that they weren't going to throw it out any other way. And sometimes it worked out. There were some really great Nano plays that let Adric get in there and not have to worry as much about getting burned down. Some great chatters that followed up. But other times, there were just opportunities where it seems like, hey, you can use this Nano and then it'll be okay. Not really happening. We didn't see it. And the antis, just, I don't think they're getting as much value out of them as they should. I think that comes down to maybe, you know, we saw the Zarya bubbles coming out from Nachos there. They were pretty good, but now we're going to see the swap again. This Wrecking Ball is back on the field. Rez back on the Diva, so you're going to have to eat those nades so they don't get any value.
And an interesting option here. We're also seeing great aspects on the Torb, trying to throw that turret up top. Doesn't look like they were able to find quite the landing spot they wanted, but with the Torbjorn turret and WLK on that, with the option for that Bob, might have 8-man on this field at some point. Nacho's going to be not bothering with any of that math, and instead just moving right onto point, causing a little bit of a disturbance. The DPS have to go back and try to contest with that. Immediately, the turret is taken down by Sova, who is now playing the soldier, so no Hanzo coming through quite this time around. Fairfield so far doing a decent job holding their own, manages to get Sellout Squad with that Ashe, so WLK playing well there. But in this meantime, we've given Sova this high ground, meaning that they are allowed to have a little bit of a shooting gallery just as much as WLK is, managed to take the kill out there. And Fairfield now looking a little bit better for where Rez not quite able to get away. They're going to let that Baby Diva walk, most likely.
Yeah, you just let that Baby Diva remake. At that point, it's better for the stall. And that Torp turret is doing a great job at calling Nachos out as well as anyone else who tries to get in on the dive. So Torp, a great anti-dive pick. So far, they've been able to stabilize, but they gave up all of the high ground. You want to be playing up high as possible on this defense if you're Fairfield.
Certainly, when you realize that you have that Ashe, it's a thought process you're going to want to have. Sova looking to rotate here on that soldier, using the sprint to get there just a little bit faster. And Minmin has the Coalescence, going to be using it to keep their team up. The anti-nades, or the healing nades rather, coming out from Zodiac Killer keeps everybody up just a little bit more. Coalescence not finding a whole lot, but allows for the power to come through from St. Peter's, the aggression, in fact. And now it's going to be the tactical visor going in, but Wrench drops the grab right at the soldier's feet. Sova taken down, and now the swing back is real. Fairfield using their ults here to ensure this victory.
Yeah, but they're gonna lose Adric, and that might be huge. The spawns are about the same here on 2CP, maybe a little bit farther for the defense. They did use a Nano very aggressively, which was good, but now we're seeing with all these fast mobility characters, they're gonna be able to get in here so quickly for St. Peter's.
WLK going to be sending Bob right into the minefields, clearing them out a little bit, as well as providing that contest to come on and just hold to the point for the time being. Ricardo pushing up onto this Reinhardt, a dangerous spot, but WLK so far using Bob to great effect, able to take down Sova, which can be the linchpin of St. Peter sometimes, but the other linchpin, Ricardo, has the Death Blossom in back, doesn't even need it, will just clap. I mean, I say they don't need it, they're going to drop it anyway. Now, going to be all going to St. Peter's.
Caster's curse, right? You're like, oh, they don't need this, and then boom, there it is, and it's like, well, I feel a little silly. Right there was a perfect example of chasing too much. Ricardo was in your backline, and then you lose your Ryan, and you got to know that, you know, they got the Diva, they got the ball, they got the Lucio. There's a lot of fast people on the enemy's team. Not just going to be slept in anti, but should be able to roll out of this right now. You're going to have to back up a little bit on the side of St. Peter's, but their engage will come back again very quickly.
And a good catch out from Zodiac allowed them to hold off Nachos for just a little bit. Diva Bomb coming in from Rez goes up high. The Maywall not quite able to cut it off. We are seeing that may come out for just a little bit of stall. A big anti-nade coming in. Sellout Squad taken down. Masks drops that sound barrier just to keep their team up for a moment longer. Fairfield going to be using it to some fair effect here as they manage to hold.
I'm not really against the sound barrier there. There isn't really much you can counter with anyway. I mean, sound barrier against Mine's not the greatest. Maybe against the Diva Bomb, but that's already been used in these swaps to the Rhine. The Visor would be a good counter to it, but Visor can still kind of melt through it a little bit. So it's not a bad play. It looks like finally Fairfield is not afraid to use ultimates, even if it might not be the best call. You need to focus one fight at a time. You do want to have a healthy ult bank for the next fight, but if you wait too long, you'll have nothing.
Yeah, especially considering how much HP this Wrecking Ball is giving away. And speaking of giant health pools on the point, we're about to see Bob come out. The grab goes in from a wrench and off the back end. Everybody just closes and feasts in from the side of Fairfield. Able to get the kills, and that does take a fall to Nacho's Mine, but they're going to be right there back from spawn in a second.
Wrench really has come alive on Anubis, just doing so much work right now for their team. The grabs have been great. And right now, again, just this fast comp that we're seeing from St. Peter's, they lose a fight and they're almost immediately back in. There is no time to set up for Fairfield. They do have ultimates to use still. They can win a fight pretty easily with probably only one thing committed. They just have to not get overzealous or panic too much.
Will be an opportunity here for Fairfield to at least buy a lot of time off the clock. Again, with that Bob, with that Nano on the field, can keep this team alive for quite a bit. Adric gonna be leaning in. Takes a bit of damage and just keeps the wall up. These May walls, again, great at buying that time in great aspects, giving them the opportunity to get the Blizzard online as well. Now we're seeing Sova with the tack of Visor, might need to be prevented by the wall. Sound barrier instead gonna have to do the trick, and now the wall does come out, but torn down almost as fast. Great aspects, gonna be throwing in the Blizzard right off the rip from the Cryo Freeze. And now Fairfield still managing to hold despite taking a few losses. Ricardo tucks right into great aspects, and things might have just turned around with Fairfield fighting and clawing it back. Again, the pin coming in from Adric doesn't quite connect, but Masks has their back.
Yeah, another touch and go moment there for Fairfield, but they are able to fend off the attack. They use some ults to get it done, but they've built up other ones in the meantime. Now both teams have the tank ults online. Ricardo, though, with that Death Blossom, we've seen how much value they've gotten out of it so far, especially on the flank. I wouldn't be surprised if Ricardo tried to teleport up top and then drop down when the rest of the team runs in.
Ricardo's going to have to be dealt with. We'll see how Fairfield attempts to do that. Rez, as that Earth Shatter as well, may look for their opening versus Adric. Now less than a minute left on the clock. It's going to be a few more pushes, one or two more coming in from St. Peter's. Again, look out for that Maywall to come in, perhaps causing a little bit of section if they're able to get Rez out early. That is great for this team. The Maywall does come out, Earthshatter coming in, but Ricardo in the backline, getting caught out, burned down almost immediately. WLK manages to get it, but that is the only kill that happens. And now everybody goes out from the side of Fairfield after the grab was invested, a costly ult that you didn't get anything with, and with some time on the bank left, it looks like St. Peter's is actually going to cap second.
20 seconds. Not a lot of time, but enough time to get the job done. And did I call it or did I call it? They did exactly what I thought they would with Ricardo. Coming up from the top rope, dropping down. No one's looking in that direction. And right there, that's all they needed in the end to get that point. But a very, very, very strong defense from Fairfield. I would just love to see them step it up. They've had a pretty good defense in general. They stepped it up a little bit on the attack on Kings Row. Now they have to really put it into extra drive. They got to take it as far as they can, because if they lose this match is going to be over for them. And with how well they've played and how much they've seemed to improve in since the first week, I really think they deserve to keep going and really just give it their all. Let's see if they can agree with me and force a map 4.
I mean, that's what we're all hoping for here. I know that you and I always like casting for just a little bit longer. Any extra maps we can get, we will take. Now, as we look ahead, the defense are going to be coming out. Sova on the Junkrat here, going to be closing down some angles with those traps.
We'll see if that pays off. Junkrat is great here because you can just spam up from that ledge. It's very hard to get through this choke. Back in the day, you'd see usually the BAP square come out, and then it's just like insta-kill, which is how much damage those grenades would do. They don't have that. They do have the Mercy Pocket, though, so extra damage all the time, and I think we're going to see a Sim teleport straight through that choke and having them get to the point.
We'll see how smart this play is going to be, how effective they can get it. Oh, they're actually going to be teleporting up and behind, so an interesting manipulation here from Fairfield. We'll see if they can find Ricardo. Looking like they might be trying to respond to it. Of course, it seems like St. Peter's is going to have that knowledge, have the reaction here. And Reinhardt kind of getting hung up here. Not sure if Adric got stuck in the geometry, what necessarily is happening. But this fight is taking place either way. St. Peter's continuing to push up here, knowing that not a whole lot of movement is happening. Looks like we actually had a disconnect, so that will be the call for the pause. And will, of course, be the Reinhardt who a little bit of connection issues.
That is really unlucky because you had a great rotation. It seems like the other team did not know exactly where you were going to go. And now you don't have your main tank. You're caught out in enemy lines to 5v6. I don't know what you do here. Maybe you try to teleport back. The teleporter is still up, so you have to wait another 11 seconds to even get that opportunity. It's really tough right now for Fairfield. It looks like they had a really great idea for this attack, but the internet gods will just not let us have this map 4. Still possible. We're going to have the unpause, or it's going to be unpaused now. The pause is going to be stopped. So we're back in, but Adric going to be in spawn.
So an unfortunate spot, but Fairfield going to try to regroup. St. Peter's going to be loving this advantage they have. A minute pot off the clock already before the team can even get grouped up in totality. It's going to be that Reinhardt just managing to squeak through before the Sim teleporter falls. And Adric is looking to take it back all the way to the second point, and Mask's gonna get burned down instantly. Sellout squad as well as Ricardo cleaning up here, and Sova holding this angle, funneling down those pills just into those tight angles that we were talking about a little bit before. Jack now gonna be the kill onto Adric, and after the first fight, it's only a minute and a half down, and not really anything to show for it from Fairfield.
Absolutely nothing to show for it. Adric's rotation was very, I'm trying to think of a word that doesn't sound too like negative, but it wasn't good. I'm not exactly sure what the plan was. Maybe trying to get second point before you get first. That's not how you can play this game, unfortunately. And now their strategy with the Sim, they know it's coming, so they have to swap it off. And WLK swapping to the Widow. They're going to swap great assets again to the Soldier, so the DPS playing a little bit of musical chairs, but now they do have time to build ults.
Certainly do, and they have enough time for maybe one ult rotation. But Sova just in the back. Nobody's paying attention to this Junkrat. Wrench does take down a res. WLK has this high ground, but wisely enough, it seems like the majority of St. Peter's is playing outside of that line of sight. So that Widow not going to be able to do a whole lot. The Riptire does come out. Great aspects taken down. Now, it's going to be no DPS on those front lines. It's all going to be on the tanks and supports. First tick is achieved. St. Peter's has to get out of here, try to get a regroup and get something happening, get some kills in any fashion. Rez now suffering a lot, but Ricardo trying to face front on the point, immediately gets a bullet through the back of their head. WLK now looking to play a little bit here as the Widow, trying to get some drag shots onto that Mercy. Can't quite find it, and the longer this fight goes, the better it's going to be for St. Peter's, but they can only do so much. It's finally going to be Fairfield breaking through.
Yeah, they are going to lose Zodiac Killer and WLK at the end, but they are able to get the point. 4 minutes counting down. So they put themselves in a good position. They have ultimates to use. They can use the Sim TP. I'm assuming they're either going to go straight to point or top right and then try to drop down. They have more to use just by a little bit than the other team. St. Peter's has 2 ults to their name, but Ricardo is close to that visor. Right now, Fairfield really needs to take this fight. They need to win this fight to really give themselves a chance at getting back in the series. If they lose this and they get stalled out for whoever knows how long, it's going to be lights out for them.
And this is the brilliant opportunity for Fairfield to come in. They bait out the rotation through the left side, but instead are going to be investing the teleporter going through. The Earthshatter comes in, lands big, and now it's looking like St. Peter's are on their deathbed for Anubis. The Valk comes out from the Mercy, gets the res onto, aptly named Rez. As the return, a Grav comes out, and somehow it looks like St. Peter's might have the opportunity to swing it back here. Nachos, again, playing very well on this tank line, and the Riptire as well, helping to secure, and despite an aggressive come-in from the side of Fairfield, they're just not able to hold it out. It's going to be the cleanup. The respawns are going to get there faster from St. Peter's. It's all a matter of time.
Not even a tick after all of that. A great play, a great shatter, but that res coming out from Min Min saved St. Peter's. It really got them back into that fight, and that grab that came out from Nachos was the icing on the cake. Now WLK going to swap again, so not going to be using that Reaper. Instead of going for the upfront damage, probably going to take that high ground and look for some flicks. Health economies have reset, but Nachos getting closer and closer to another grab. These Zarya players have really stepped up in different ways.
We'll see now a rotation coming through, but WLK getting taken down by Ricardo, already man down in this fight. Equalizes now with a kill onto Sova, but the kills are going to have to come a lot faster than that, considering the closeness of the respawn. Considering the fact that the res just goes onto the field, Nachos grabbing the backline, not able to really be dealt with, but the sound barrier does come online from Masks to help everybody stay up. And now we're seeing more ults invested once again by Fairfield to try to keep themselves in this game. The freeze coming through doesn't quite help. Now Fairfield suffering to get any kills they can. Adric no longer there to mitigate any of that damage. Fairfield in a rough spot, and another Junkrat tire coming online. Great aspects, able to take it down with a little bit of help from a wrench. Ricardo diving right in, ends up taking their lumps, and Rez in an uncomfortable spot, but again, St. Peter's pulls it out. Despite these incredible offenses, there's some great defensive regrouping coming through.
Adric got frozen out of their shatter. It was so sad to hear and see, and that was a big play by Ricardo. Kept them back in it again. Just big plays coming out from St. Peter's. They seem to always be able to get ahead when you think they're about to just crumble. Now we're going to see a Pharah come out with the Mercy, so the full pharmacy online. Sova, though, wants to get on that flank and is now going to be all the way up behind.
Up onto the pillar, able to just rain down any sort of kills. We see the Earthshatter online from Rez. Will they be looking to land it? No shield to contest with St. Peter's. Got to be feeling confident enough to hold on to it for now. They did invest the Valk, so that might be just enough here. We see Min Min trying to go for the kill onto the Widowmaker, but not this time, says WLK.
This is essentially a 3v6 right now. You've got the pharmacy in the sky. They're going to get grabbed up. You've got the Widow who's also going to fall playing way far back. So it's basically just the tanks and the Lucio. It's not a winnable situation for Fairfield. And now they have 14 seconds left. Their Lucio is going to touch, but that's not going to be soon enough to trigger overtime. Now they're going to lose great aspects. And this is just falling apart right now for Fairfield.
Yeah, that late kill onto the Mercy pretty much sealed the deal here for St. Peter's. The sound barrier comes in just to keep the Lucio, the Winston, the Zarya online, but they're all going to be frozen in quick fashion as that Blizzard goes online from Ricardo, able to lock everybody down. Nachos there with the clean. French throws in the grab, but there's so little that you can do when so few members are on the field. St. Peter's looking to wrap this up. Overtime going to tick down. The Maywall coming out. The touch does go on from great aspects, but got caught in a pin by Rez. Interestingly enough, and St. Peter's University going to be taking Anubis. Man, I was really rooting for Fairfield there for a moment.
You and me both. I really wanted to see that map for, but alas, our journey ends there. A 3-0 for St. Peter's, and they looked good. Just because we're not rooting for you doesn't mean we aren't happy that you won. You know, you just want to see a little bit something new. That's the fifth 3-0 I've seen today, and the 8th we've had for EGF. Only that 1-3-1 between Wichita State and University of Delaware. So a lot of teams still flying high, still being able to be very clutch, not give up many maps. And I think as this league goes on and on and on, we're going to see teams rise to the top, while others might fall a bit farther to the bottom. But that's just how it is. We're all here to play a game and have fun. And hopefully both these teams had fun. Maybe St. Peter's having a little bit more fun here, getting that 3-0 victory at the end.
Yeah, you certainly have to think so. No matter how well you play the game, it always tastes a little bit sweeter on a nice win. But with that, we wanted a litmus test for where St. Peter's was going to be, and I certainly think we have that as well. Fairfield going to be walking away with some stuff that they know they can improve on in the next coming weeks.
I think it still comes down to, the hero compositions. They play just too many musical chairs. I think they need to be confident in their picks. If it doesn't work, then you learn from it. But when you keep swapping so much, how can you ever really establish what to run on a certain point? The DPS, they play well. I mean, both the DPS on the side of Fairfield can get picks. They just need to, really lock it down, make sure they know what they're going to be doing, and not worry too much and not switch so fast.
Certainly agree. We'll look forward to seeing if they can refine their play style. However, Jag, I know it has been a long day for you. It's been about a half day for me, so I think we are about ready to wrap it up here. You want to go ahead and give the people the information where they can reach you at?
Absolutely. My name is Jag. I've been your color for the last, however many hours it's been your color caster. And you can find me on Twitter at JagCast. You can find it right under my name there, on the screen. It's over there, I believe. Absolutely. And throwing it back to you, sir.
And likewise, I've been Sir Waltham. You can see me on Twitter and Twitch at the handle you see below myself. But for all of us here, from the servers to you, EGF wants to thank you guys for tuning in, showing your support for these teams, allowing us to put these presentations and productions on for you guys. But for our Overwatch, that will be it for tonight. Tune in later. Tune in next week. Should be this same time. We'll have some more fantastic games for you then. But until then, we want to say take care and stay safe out there, everybody.
Special shout out to your producer.